You know, killing a mature buck here in upstate New York is never an easy thing to do. And there's always a ton of questions that you have to ask yourself every year in order to be successful. And probably the most important question that I find myself asking is, you know, where is it going to happen? Let's pretend that you've gone out there, you know, and you've just gained access to this brand new piece of property. You just went out, got permission, you're excited, but you really have no idea what the deer are doing on that property. You know, now is the time in late spring, early summer is when you want to get out there and start figuring out how this property works and how those deer move. And you know, the very first step I take on any new property is to get right on my computer, go straight to Google Earth, and you can type in the address of the property you're going to hunt, and it'll bring you right down to that piece of property. You can zoom in on it. You know, you can level out and you can actually see the topography of this property, which will help you narrow down where potential pinch points might be, where there might be some funnels, even potential you know, bedding areas. You can figure all that out just by looking at Google Earth. You can see where fields are, you know, where there might be some fingers coming out, you know, all of those spots that mature bucks like to use. It's a great tool because it's not invasive. You're not walking around the property laying down your scent and bumping deer. And it gives you a good idea so that when you do go and it's time to, you know, set up trail cameras or take a quick walk around the perimeter of the property to figure out what it looks like, it helps you to narrow down the hot spots so that you can focus your efforts in those areas. And that's the very first thing I like to do when it comes to looking at a brand new property. So, you know, you've done your homework. You know, you've really starting to get and put together a good picture of what the deer are doing on this new property that you're hunting. You know, you've gone on Google Earth, you've figured out, you know, where are the potential hot spots, you've gone in, set up your trail cameras, you've been studying pictures, you've been, you know, recording times and getting a good idea when these deer are moving, where they're going to. You know, you've been setting up, doing long range scouting, seeing what kind of deer are on your property, you know, but now it's time to hang stands. It's time to get out there and find those spots that are going to offer you a shot with archery equipment when it comes down to, you know, when the deer season really kicks in. And the most important part about this is really understanding the behavior of the deer on your property. You know, mature bucks are all different. They all have different personalities, but they also follow a lot of the same rules. And there's a lot of things to look for, you know, when it comes to hanging stands for mature bucks. When I'm on a new property and I want to have a good opportunity at shooting a mature buck on the first year, I'm going to set up in the obvious areas. You know, I'm going to look for transition zones between bedding and feeding areas. I'm going to look for funnels and pinch points during the rut. The deer are going to be chasing the does through there. That's always a good spot to be. And there's also another spot that I find is one of my favorite spots actually. Anywhere you find a field or a food plot, if you walk back into that wood line about 30 yards or so, you know, you're going to find this small little trail. Sometimes it's really hard to see, but you'll find it if you look hard enough. And sometimes there'll be scrapes, old scrapes there from last year, or maybe you'll see some old hookings from last year on the trees as they go along this trail. I call that the inner circle, and what that is it's a trail that bucks use during the rut, or pre-rut even, to basically scent check any does that might be out in that field. So what I would do in that situation, you want to set up a tree stand that's going to be within range of that trail on the downwind side. So, you know, if your other spots aren't producing, that's always a good bet. So, you know, once you get those tree stands hung, you want to do that a couple months before the season. Back out, don't go back in there until it's time to hunt. You know, all of those things that I've mentioned and that everybody else has mentioned today are going to help you to answer that question of where it's going to happen, and it's going to help you to be successful in this upcoming season.
Hello, I'm Ben Williams from Old Tin Cup Habitat Restoration Enhancement, and welcome back to In the Field. In this segment, we're going to be discussing a plant that is very beneficial to many wildlife species this time of the year, and that's soybeans. This is a secluded soybean field. We have a hedgerow between us and then a much larger soybean field to the west of us. So these soybeans are providing a multiple of uses for many different species of wildlife. Not only is it providing lots of tonnage of quality forage for your whitetails, which is helping your bucks reach their antler growth potential, as well as helping those does put that extra protein into their diet so that they have healthier fawns. But these beans are also providing great bugging locations for your turkeys. When I came in to film for this segment, there were several turkeys in the north end of this field just bugging away. So these beans are providing a multiple of uses. So use that to your advantage. Come into these locations and set a trail camera. We're filming this segment at a trail camera location, and we'll put up some good trail cam pictures in this segment as well. Or you can scout from afar at locations like this, setting up with a nice set of binoculars or a very good spotting scope and checking out some of these bean fields without putting that extra intrusion into your locations. So there's my suggestion. Again, I'm Ben Williams from Old Tin Cup Habitat Restoration Enhancement. I'll see you next time here in the field.